Tonight's top stories. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. orders the expansion of the scope of the government's Uplift program. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s discussion with Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong centered on the further strengthening of our two nations' relations. The palace backs the plan of the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, to conduct a probe on the alleged anomaly on infrastructure for the country's SEA Games hosting in 2019, saying it is only right to do so. Unfortunately for motorists, another hike in diesel prices is expected to be implemented next week. All these and more on PTV News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. As the energy crisis threatens to even spiral down with the renewal and escalation of armed hostilities between the United States and Iran, the president has ordered expanded and increased assistance to roughly 7.5 million Filipino families hit hard by the inflation and rising food costs through his Uplift program. Our Kenneth Paciente lays out the details.
Earning just over 600 pesos a day as a cook at a construction site in Quezon City, Darwin stretches every peso to support his family. He has put his two children through school and relies on the same income to pay the household bills. But as the cost of living continues to rise, he says making ends meet has become increasingly difficult.
Kapos pa rin yun, kahit anong gawin sipag. Dahil tumataas ang bilin, sahod ng tao, wala.
Today, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. expanded the Unified Package for Livelihood, Industry, Food and Transport, or Uplift.
Sa ilalim ng programang ito, mabibigyan ng agarang tulong ang 7.5 milyong kabahayan o 37.5 na milyong Pilipino sa buong bansa. Makakatanggap ng isang beses na karagdagan tulong na hanggang 2,000 piso ang 3.5 milyong benepisyaryo ng Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program o 4Ps at yung Walang Gutom Program.
Another 2,000 pesos in assistance will also be given from July to December or for 6 months to 2.5 million poor and near poor Filipinos identified under the 2024 community-based monitoring system. Low-income workers and their families who are listed under the Social Security system will also qualify. The chief executive said the impact of the tensions in the Middle East continues to be felt, threatening the global oil supply and driving up prices, adding to the financial burden of Filipino families.
Layunin ng Uplift Assistance na mapangalagaan ang kakayahan ng mga pamilyang Pilipino na matustusan ang kanilang pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan. Kasabay nito, pinalawak natin ang saklaw na tulong upang mas maraming Pilipino ang makinabang sa programa.
According to President Marcos, the distribution of assistance will shift to a digital system to make the process faster, more orderly, and more convenient for beneficiaries. The government has allocated 12.375 billion pesos for the expanded Uplift program. But how prepared is the government should the tensions in the Middle East worsen or persist?
Yan mga po ang inaaral. Pagka may budget po, i-release agad para itulong sa mas nangangailangan. At binabalanse po lahat ang pondo.
Kalezal Pardilia for the nation.
It is in the best interest of the country to engage with its like-minded neighbors, especially those nations that are home to tens of thousands of migrant working Filipinos and offer huge opportunities for greater cooperation in trade, investment, and financing. Hence, the president's just concluded trip to the Lion City state of Singapore and the details of his working visit, which our Kenneth Paciente details in this report.
Philippine-Singapore relations took center stage in the meeting between President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Prime Minister Lawrence Wong at the Istana as part of the president's three-day working visit. The two leaders discussed expanding cooperation in trade, investments, health, social services, and the adoption of artificial intelligence. They also agreed to pursue new bilateral agreements to further strengthen Philippine-Singapore partnership. The president said the Philippines and Singapore will continue working together to keep the region peaceful, stable, and open to greater opportunities. Prime Minister Wong also congratulated the Philippines on its attainment of upper middle income status.
Ayon sa Prime Minister, maituturing na respectable growth o matatag na pag-unlad ng Pilipinas ang pagiging upper middle income country sa likod ng mga pagsubok dulot ng kaguluhan sa Middle East.
The Prime Minister also expressed admiration for Philippine tennis star Alex Ayala.
Tiwala ang Prime Minister na si Alex Ayala ang magiging kauna-unahang Southeast Asian na mag-uuwi ng Grand Slam title sa Wimbledon. Bagay na sinang-ayunan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. Kapwa nagpaabot ng paghanga ang dalawang leader sa tagumpay na dala ni Alex Ayala sa Southeast Asia.
The president also met with business leaders including ABC Impact, which reaffirmed its commitment to invest in the Philippines. Its partnership with AC Health of the Ayala Group is expected to expand access to quality, affordable health care. AC Health also pledged to expand its operations to reach more Filipinos. The president said the expansion will support at least 10 hospitals, 300 clinics, 1,150 pharmacies, and create around 10,000 direct jobs by 2027. The president also met with Singtel Group, which reaffirmed its plan to expand its data center operations in the Philippines. The company also reiterated its commitment to expand its investments in the country. The president said this shows the Philippines is becoming an increasingly attractive destination for digital economy investments. The president said Singtel's expansion will create more high-value jobs and strengthen the country's digital backbone. Today, the president joined the Milken Institute roundtable discussion with regional business leaders, where he highlighted the country's continued economic growth. He also underscored the $170 billion Build Better More infrastructure program, which covers more than 200 projects, including the Luzon Economic Corridor. Kenneth, pasyente for the nation.
A huge challenge faces the Senate impeachment court when trial proceedings resume Monday next week, and it deliberates and ultimately decides on the thorny issue of uncovering the green BIR box containing financial records of the Vice President and her spouse, as requested by the House Prosecution Panel. And as our Bernard Ferrer reports, there's precedence to draw from, such as during the 2012 ex-SC Justice impeachment trial, for guidance, or even the President having the right to intervene as provided for by law.
The release of the tax records of any impeachable official falls under the authority of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. This was emphasized by impeachment court spokesperson Attorney Reggie Tongol. Under Section 71 of the National Internal Revenue Code, income tax returns may be opened for inspection upon the order of the President.
Yun po yung base sa Section 71 na sinasite po ng prosecution. At yun din po yung sinasite ng ni dating Commissioner Kim Menares when she was presented as a witness sa impeachment court nung panahon ng impeachment ni Corona.
Tongol said there would be no violation of the law if the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR first seeks the President's approval before releasing the tax records of an impeachable official should the matter reach the Supreme Court. Earlier, the impeachment court conducted oral arguments on the prosecution's request to issue subpoenas for the tax, bank, and AMLAC records of Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband, Attorney Manassas Manscarpio. The request for the records forms part of the proceedings on Article 2 of the Articles of Impeachment, which deals with alleged unexplained wealth. The senator judges are expected to continue their deliberations on the request to issue subpoenas on Monday, July 20. However, Tongol said the impeachment court may still seek additional time before issuing a decision if a more thorough legal review is deemed necessary. Meanwhile, Tongol said the impeachment court may also look into the process followed during the 2012 impeachment trial of former Supreme Court Chief Justice Renato Corona as a guide. According to Tongol, former BIR Commissioner Kim Menares first received a subpoena from the impeachment court before seeking the approval of former President Benigno Aquino III to release the requested tax records. Bernard Ferrer for The Nation.
With the Vice President's impeachment trial shifting to the issue over misuse of confidential funds, while DepEd Secretary, the prosecution panel submitted its formal request to the impeachment court to unseal the green box from the BIR containing the Vice President's tax and bank records as documentary evidence showing the huge sums of financial transactions during her term as Vice Mayor till recently. This amidst vehement pushback from the defense to keep the box sealed and the public in the dark, as our Sheila Natividad reports.
Yeah, we're very confident. We're very confident that we are on the right side of history.
Private Prosecutor Attorney Lorna Capunan expressed confidence following the second week of the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. During the recent oral arguments, the defense said it does not object to the release of documents inside the green BIR box, particularly the financial records of the Vice President and her husband, Attorney Mans Carpio, provided that the process complies with the Constitution. And should the Duterte-Carpio couple challenge the subpoena for their records, Capunan said,
Karapatan po nila yan, ano? Everybody has a right to question, ano? It is the part of due process. They can, of course, question. We cannot predict how the Supreme Court decides.
During the pre-trial conference, the prosecution already sought to open the green BIR box containing the bank, tax, and anti-money laundering counsel or AMLOC records of the Duterte-Carpio couple, but the defense strongly opposed the request. The prosecution panel later submitted a formal request to the Senate Impeachment Court to present these documents as evidence in the trial. The issue eventually reached the oral arguments with House prosecutors Representative Chel Jokno and Attorney Michael Poa leading the arguments for the prosecution. The defense maintained that the financial records of VP Duterte are irrelevant to the case. The prosecution, however, argued otherwise.
Confidentiality, Your Honor, should not be the prevailing principle in this proceeding. Hindi po confidential ang katotohanan.
Under Republic Act No. 1405 or the Bank Secrecy Law, bank records are generally considered confidential. The law, however, also provides an exception in cases of impeachment, allowing the presentation of bank records in such proceedings.
Impeachment trial po ito. Klarong-klaro po sa batas, yung Bank Secrecy Law, no? At sa ating mga anti-graft laws. Exception po. You can open bank records and you can reveal BIR documents in connection with an impeachment case.
Kung wala naman pong tinatago, ano naman po ang dahilan para hindi payagan ang pagpepresenta ng mga ebidensya? Nang sa ganun, ay makita ng ating mga kababayan yung tanong, meron ba talaga o walang sapat na ebidensya laban sa ating Vice Presidente?
On Monday, July 20, the Senate is set to decide whether to grant the prosecution panel's request to subpoena the financial records of Vice President Duterte and her husband, Attorney Carpio, for the continuation of the impeachment trial. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, July 21, NBI Director Melvin Matibag is expected to take the stand as the final witness for Article 4 of the impeachment complaint on the alleged grave threats before the prosecution proceeds to Article 1 involving the confidential funds. Sheila Natividad for the Nation.
The China Coast Guard's tailing of Japan's Coast Guard training vessel Itsukushima did not affect its transit through the West Philippine Sea. The Japanese vessel has arrived in the country and is docked in Manila right now. Patrick De Jesus has more in this report.
The Japan Coast Guard training vessel Itsukushima will stay in the Philippines for 4 days for a port visit after arriving on Thursday at Port 15 in Manila. Aside from a courtesy visit, a series of activities has been lined up for the more than 100 crew members and trainees aboard the Itsukushima in coordination with the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG.
We will undertake a people-to-people engagement, some sports activities together with the cadets on board and also the cadets of the Philippine Coast Guard, and also we'll be according them with a facility tour in our headquarters and also with our vessels.
This is the Itsukushima's final overseas port of call before returning to Japan. as part of its 89-day global ocean training voyage for fiscal year 2026. The vessel is 134 meters long and has a displacement of about 5,000 tons. 2 PCG officers are participating in the training program aboard the Itsukushima as ship riders. They boarded the vessel on July 11 when it docked in Singapore and will remain on board until it returns to Japan.
Upon arrival to Tokyo, Japan, we will be taking us to the Yokohama Center, JICA, and there will be having different engagement and activities. We look forward na magkaroon kami ng knowledge and experience to operating large vessels like this one at the back, right there.
Iba-iba ang kultura, pero isang mungkahi din na matuto tayo at sila din na tulungan din natin ng shared experience also.
On its way to Manila, Itsukushima passed through the West Philippine Sea. The vessel's commanding officer also confirmed that a China Coast Guard vessel followed them during their transit.
私たち海上保安庁も日本の海域で、中国海警の船と、いろいろな形で、向かい合っていますけれども、その延長線で、我々としては逆に実習生に、こういった関係があるんだよということを学ばせるいい機会だと思っています。
Before arriving in the Philippines, the Itsukushima visited Victoria and Vancouver in Canada, San Francisco and Hawaii in the United States, Sydney, Australia, and Singapore. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
Senator judges whining and crying foul on the NBI's move to proceed with reopening a probe on a 2019 SEA Games infrastructure anomaly should take a step back and listen. The NBI's planned action fulfills its mandated duty to look into potential infractions of the law during government transactions, says Palace press officer and PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro. The Palace's statement on the issue is in response to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's accusation of political persecution by the government on senator judges in the minority. The alleged flaming cauldron anomaly during the 2019 Southeast Asian Games was never resolved and eventually swept under the rug. Still, NBI Director Melvin Matibag vows to pursue the case, which also allegedly entails billions in unliquidated government funds and a private contractor receiving a $10 billion project through congressional insertions.
Ano ba ang dapat gawin? Isa walang bahala? Tulugan? Ignore? O imbestagahan? Ang tao na wala naman na dapat katakutan ay hindi nai-intimidate kahit kailan. Ang pag-iimbestiga na gagawin dahil mayroon naman talagang issue noong pang 2019, hindi ito pang-i-intimidate, hindi ito panggigipit sa mga taong wala namang ginawang mali.
While the government relentlessly pursues to rein in inflation and keep the cost of food, services, and essential items of survival down, it is also directly addressing food security through its anti-hunger program. Case in point, over 600,000 households are receiving nutritious meals by way of an expanded Walang Gutom program, which our Elijah Canlas hashes over in this report.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, continues to expand its program against hunger and malnutrition in the country. According to the DSWD, the Walang Gutom program has over 600,000 active beneficiary households as of July 2026. The department provides electronic benefit transfer, or EBT cards, containing 3,000 pesos in food credits monthly to selected families. The department identifies eligible residents falling under the food poor category using the list from the Community-Based Monitoring System, or CBMS. According to Director Camille Antaguba, Deputy Program Manager of the Walang Gutom program, the department aims not only to relieve hunger among Filipinos, but also to provide nutritious food for everyone.
Sa mga gusto po natin sa programa na ma-impluwensyahan, hindi lang mabigyan sila ng pangtawid gutom, kung hindi pangtawid sa kagutuman, kung hindi ay sila din po ay masigurong nakakapili ng mas magandang klase ng pagkain.
In line with this, the Walang Gutom Kitchen in Pasay, Cebu, and Zamboanga City continue to serve and remain open to anyone in need. These kitchens operate under the expanded Pag-abot program of the DSWD in partnership with over 300,000 volunteers from various sectors.
Dito po kasi kay Walang Gutom Kitchen, sinusunod po natin yung pinggang Pinoy. So meron din po tayong Go, Grow, and Glow food. In a daily serving po SAS, we offer 2 bayans. So we ensure po in a plate, meron po tayong gulay at saka meron po tayong meat.
Currently, the department is now identifying new locations for the next phase of implementation in the National Capital Region or NCR, Region 8 and Caraga. According to OIC Ramil Mapoy, the department targets to prioritize assisting food-poor areas in the country before expanding to other places.
Sa mga susunod na taon po, we're still subject for pag-locate ng other regions po by next year. Pero po, ang naging tungtungan lang din po namin dito for pag-locate kung saan is yung may high incidence po ng food poor.
Through the combination of EBT food credits and these soup kitchens, the government hopes to gradually restore nutrition to Filipino families and ultimately end malnutrition in the country.
National immunization program are safely delivered to remote areas across the Philippines for children and mothers. The cold chain and vaccine delivery systems are certified to meet international standards, with PharmaServe Express serving as the Department of Health's primary service provider for the program. The Health Department also monitors the temperature and location of every shipment in real time, ensuring that vaccines are safely delivered to regional health offices. This is in line with the directive of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to the Health Department and local department or government units to ensure the adequate and effective distribution of free vaccines available at health centers and vaccination sites across the country.
Residents of Pasay City are expected to exhibit more discipline in waste management, cleanliness, and public order. This comes after the launch of the MMDA's Yes to Ayos Disiplina campaign in the city. J.M. Thompson reports.
In various ways, such as crossing only at pedestrian lanes, boarding at the correct stops, and disposing of trash in the proper bins. For Karen, this kind of program is important because aside from helping keep the environment orderly, it is also a way to teach discipline to everyone, especially the youth.
Sobrang halaga po kasi nga una sa lahat, pag nag-ipon ka ng mga recyclable, una sa lahat, may iwas sa baha, tapos iwas sa mga ano ng kalat sa paligid. Yan dapat ang una nating ituro sa mga anak natin na maging maano sila sa mga, lalo na sa kalat sa paligid, lalo na pag yung mga recyclable, kailangan ipunin nila, separate yung, lalo na yung like din ng basura, separate yung mga recyclable, yung mga nabubulok tsaka hindi nabubulok.
MMDA Chair Attorney Don Artes also sees the program as a reminder to our fellow citizens, especially the youth, that simply managing their trash properly is a big help when it comes to the orderliness of the community.
Kailangan talaga natin mag-instill ng disiplina simula pagkabata para paglaki nila ay maging disiplinado silang mamamayan.
The MMDA continuously visits various parts of Metro Manila to launch the Yes to Ayos Disiplina campaign, and the agency will also collaborate with the Department of Education to extend the reach of such advocacy on discipline.
Magkaroon na ng grand launch ito, isang malakiang launch kasama po yung 17 LGUs ng Metro Manila.
J.M. Thompson for The Nation.
Prices are expected to increase sharply next week as tensions in the Middle East continue to push global oil prices higher. Based on early industry estimates, diesel prices may rise by 9 to 10 pesos per liter, while gasoline could go up by 3 pesos and 50 centavos to 4 pesos and 50 centavos per liter. The Energy Department says it will finalize the official price adjustments on Monday, while also continuing to monitor the implementation of fuel pricing by oil companies. The projected increase is being driven by escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, which have heightened concerns over possible disruptions to global oil supply. Information is power and might, and an estimable value, especially if it dwells on sensitive and classified subjects like national security and defense. Hence, in its digital form, it should be highly protected and stored in the most secure networks or database systems. Our Carlo Candelaria on government's new policy, which the president set in stone by way of Executive Order 119, which establishes a modern framework for the storage and protection of government data.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has signed Executive Order number 119, establishing a modern framework for the storage and protection of government data. The order is in line with the President's directive to ensure that critical government data remains secure and protected while advancing the country's digital transformation. It also seeks to enable the government to keep pace with emerging technologies such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence or AI, and other digital services. According to President and our Executive Order 119, government digital or hybrid form that is owned, processed, or controlled by must remain within the Philippines as part of the government's and the country's data sovereignty. Meanwhile, non-sensitive government on secure cloud platforms, provided they comply with cybersecurity and data protection standards. The executive order also clarifies that it applies only to government data and does not cover the personal information of private individuals or businesses. Government agencies will have a 3-year transition period to fully implement the new government data management system. Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT Secretary Henry Aguda meanwhile emphasized the importance of protecting government data to further advance the country's digital transformation while keeping the Philippines open to global digital partners. Carlo Luis Candelaria for The Nation.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue has issued a new memorandum circular to processing of one-time property transactions of electronic certificates authorizing registration. The new guidelines consolidate procedures for taxpayers, including applicable and payment documents, process timelines, actions, properties, shares of stock, donations, and estates. The circular also clarifies the rules for AR, as well as the application tax rules in ensure uniform implementation of existing policies and speed up the processing of ONET computation sheets and ECAR applications. The government has raised 1 billion pesos from the sale of its privatization program. The Department of Finance says the sale will help generate additional funds for national development. Offering to sell the mile-long complex food terminal and its shares in the South Luzon Expressway, the government is asked to generate 1 billion pesos this year.
Stay tuned for more stories that matter. You're watching PTV News Tonight.
Prosecution further manifests that we will not be presenting as well the following witnesses for Article 4, that is threat. Number 1, Your Honor, is the Philippine National Police Firearms and Explosives Office Representative Mikel Flores and Bons Magsambol, Sheriff Abe Andres, the family member of a victim of threats. psychiatrist. On the other hand, Your Honor, both parties have sufficiently established already the circumstances surrounding the statement made by
Thus, with children, submit videos with a theme. Hear my voice. This one tip or contact the following.
The second witness for the prosecution is no other than Attorney Jeremy C. Lotok.
I, Jeremy C. Lotok, do swear that the evidence that I will be giving shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I was the chief of the NBI Cybercrime Division. Primary duties, among others, to plan, direct, supervise the investigation of cybercrime cases. And part of my duties and responsibilities is to investigate high-profile cases, specifically crimes committed through and with the use of information and communication technology.
Disaster Watch. Alamin ang mga dapat ilagay sa go bag bilang paghahanda sa sakuna. Maglagay ng tubig na maiinom at mga pagkaing hindi madaling masira. Maglaan ng espasyo para sa first aid kit at survival kit para sa mga hindi inaasahang pangyayari. Huwag kalimutan ang toiletries para mapanatili ang kalinisan ng katawan. Samahan din ng mga damit at beddings na magtatagal ng ilang araw. At para ligtas at may alam, magdala ng mga teknikal na gamit. Sa panahon ng kalamidad, dapat laging listo.
We considered the content and context of the utterances made by the Vice President in November 23, 2024, as well as the utterances made by the Vice President in October 18, 2024, the reactions from the recipients, as well as reactions from several government agencies. We considered several factors, Your Honor, at least four. Number one, the delivery. Number two, the literal meaning of the statement. Number three, the nature of the instruction. Number four, the relationship between the parties. Your Honor, we are trying to establish the patterns and the consistencies of those utterances.
Nawa ay sa kanyang pagtatanggol sa kanyang sarili ay buong katapatan niyang ilalabas ang katotohanan ayon sa kanyang konsensya.
Tutukan ang mga solusyon at aksyon sa mga isyu ng bayan at programa ng pamahalaan para sa bagong Pilipinas. Kasama ang ating Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation, Larry Gato, Ulat sa PTV.
Tara na sa masayang mundo ng paglikha.
Kung gusto niyo namang balikan ang mga obrang ginawa natin this week,
iba-ibang DIY projects, fun trivias at artworks. Para sa lahat ng kids at mga kids at heart.
Samahan si Kuya Joseph, Elia, at cholo sa kanilang exciting art adventures at bigyang kulay ang buhay.
Artsy Craftsy!
Artsy Craftsy, tuwing Sabado, alas 10:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa PTV.
With the first ever elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region drawing ever closer, the poll body, with the help of law enforcement, has begun setting up checkpoints in key areas of the region's 3 cities and 105 towns. As a result, candidates running for office and their supporters are strongly advised to observe and comply with the do's and don'ts as set by the COMELEC and PNP. Among them, but not limited to, observe the gun or firearm ban during the entire election period, refrain from carrying bladed tools or weapons, and desist from bringing security people and bodyguards in the public sphere. The campaign period for candidates runs from July 30th to the 12th of September. Meanwhile, an alcohol and no campaign ban will strictly go in effect on the eve of the polls on September 13th and election day the following day. In addition, the firearm or gun ban ends on September 29th. The 14th of October is the last day for candidates to submit their statements of contributions and expenditures or sources.
ASEAN foreign ministers and key dialogue partners are set to gather in Manila next week as the Philippines hosts a series of high-level meetings marking the 50th anniversary of the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation. The week-long discussions will focus on regional security cooperation and pressing issues, including developments in the South China Sea and Myanmar. The full report from our Gab Villegas.
The activities for next week for the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation or TAC have already been finalized. It will begin on July 20 with the meetings of the ASEAN foreign ministers, which will discuss human rights, the nuclear weapon-free zone, regional resilience, community building, and the situation in Myanmar. In the coming days, there will also be post-ministerial conferences with ASEAN's dialogue partners, including the United States, China, Russia, Japan, South Korea, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. The ASEAN Plus 3 ASEAN Regional Forum East Asia Summit and the first ever high-level conference for the anniversary of the TAC, which will be hosted by the Philippines, will also be held. Negotiations on the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea continues, with the 2016 Arbitral Award among the topics being discussed. But the Department of Foreign Affairs clarified that the issue regarding Batanes is not included in the agenda of the meetings.
We're happy to say that there is, we're confident that there is a continuing progress in terms of the number of meetings that have happened so far. I think the latest we had was in Vietnam. And I believe the Philippines will also host another meeting. So there's the commitment there. We see progress, and we still are confident that within the year we will see something coming out of these negotiations.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro is also scheduled to give a comprehensive briefing as ASEAN Special Envoy regarding her latest engagements with stakeholders in Thailand, including representatives of the Myanmar junta and ethnic armed organizations. Gab Villegas for The Nation.
Selected children in the Cordillera have received assistance from First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos through the distribution of kitty bags. The donation was personally distributed to students in Benguet, Baguio City, and Bissau by the Office of the Presidential Assistant for Cordillera. Officials said the initiative reflects the First Lady's continued support for the welfare of children in the region. Assistance was also extended to fire victims and patients in need of medical aid, while the Yaman ng Kalusugan program was also launched in the Cordillera.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources in the Zamboanga Peninsula has donated more than 7,000 board feet of lumber to earthquake-hit communities in Sarangani. The donated lumber repurposed from confiscated timber will be used to help affected families rebuild their homes. DNR personnel also provided cash assistance through voluntary contributions from employees. Local officials and military engineers are now working to distribute the materials and build core shelters for displaced residents. More news in just a moment. Stay with us.
Alam niyo ba kung bakit espesyal tayong mga Pilipino? Dahil may mga katangian tayong kakaiba at tunay na kahanga-hanga. Gaya na lang ni Miguel, na likas na matulungin.
Guys, help natin si Manong oh!
O kaya ni Adrian, na may respeto at paggalang.
Lola, paano po?
Nariyan din si Aya, na malalim ang pananampalataya.
Panginoon, salamat po sa mga biyaya.
Si Aling Sita na kahit walang-wala, magiliw pa rin tumatanggap ng bisita.
Come in! Tuloy po kayo!
At kapag sinusubok kagaya ni Paulo, nananatiling matatag, masiyahid at positibo.
Huwag ka lang, Pilipino ako.
Yan tayong Pilipino. Likas ang kabutihan, katatagan at pusong makatao.
Home is where your health journey begins.
Huwag palampasin ang weekly health advice mula sa mga eksperto. Masasarap at masusustansyang recipe. Guided exercises to boost your fitness levels. Tips to keep our fur babies happy and healthy. At iba-ibang fun activities na perfect pang-bonding ng buong pamilya.
Ito po si Niña Corpus. Samahan niyo kami tuwing Sabado alas 7 ng umaga para sa simula ng healthier and happier lifestyle ng buong pamilya.
Health at Home. Dito lang sa inyong People's Television.
What constitutes a grave threat that will prompt the NBI to conduct an investigation as compared to a light threat?
If a person threatens another person with the infliction upon the latter's person, property, or honor, or that of the latter's family with any wrong amounting to a crime, if that threat is with condition or without condition, yun po, Your Honor, yung kabuuan.
Kailangan po ba ng patunay na may kinontratang assassin?
In so far as the crime of grave threat is concerned, hindi po yun kailangan.
Roadwatch, mga dapat tandaan tungkol sa No Contact Apprehension Policy ng MMDA. Para maayos ang daloy ng trapiko at bawasan ang contact sa pagitan ng mga motorista at enforcer, muling ipinatutupad ang NCAP o No Contact Apprehension Policy sa mga pangunahing kalsada sa Metro Manila. Ang NCAP ay isang programa ng MMDA kung saan hinuhuli ang mga lumalabag sa batas trapiko gamit ang mga high-definition CCTV camera, digital camera, at iba pang gadget tulad ng speed gun at handheld video camera. Kapag may na-record na violation, ito ay i-review at i-validate at i-verify ang vehicle record sa LTO Information Query Facility. Ipapasok ang vehicle record sa NCAP system at mag-i-issue ng Notice of Violation. Ang Notice of Violation ay ipadadala sa rehistradong tirahan ng motorista sa pamamagitan ng postal mail. Ang multa ay maaaring bayaran online sa Land Bank LinkBiz portal o magsadya sa head office ng MMDA. Maaari ring iprotesta ang Notice of Violation sa online filing platform ng MMDA Traffic Adjudication Division gamit ang QR code o link. Kapag gustong i-check kung may violation ka, bisitahin lamang ang mayhulika.mmda.gov.ph. Roadwatch, hatid ng inyong PTV.
We'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, singer-songwriter Louis Tomlinson will return to the Philippines this October as part of his How Did We Get Here world tour. The former One Direction member is set to perform on October 17 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City in support of his third solo album, How Did I Get Here? Ticket sales will begin with an artist pre-sale on July 27th, followed by MasterCard and Live Nation Philippines pre-sales before general sales open on July 30th through TicketNet. Tomlinson last performed in Manila in 2022 when his concert was moved to the larger Smart Araneta Coliseum after. In the meantime, director Matt Reeves has released a teaser for The Batman Part 2, confirming that the film will premiere in theaters on February 18, 2028. Robert Pattinson returns as Bruce Wayne, alongside Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth, Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, and Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin. New cast members include Sebastian Stan as Harvey Dent, Scarlett Johansson as Gilda Dent, and Charles Dance as Charles Dent, Harvey's abusive father. Barry Keoghan is also rumored to reprise his role as the Joker following the character's brief appearance in the first film.
Gilas Pilipinas boys captured the top 3 championship of the 2026 FIBA 3x3 Nations League Asia 2 in Malaysia. The young Filipinos defeated Japan 19-14 in the finals to claim their first top title of the tournament. With the victory, the Philippines moved into a share of the conference lead with Belarus, as both teams now have 240 points in the standings. Cabs Cabunilas led Gilas with 7 points, while Koji Buenaflor added 6 and Earl Medina chipped in 5. The Philippines advanced to the final after beating New Zealand 21-16 before defeating Singapore 22-14 in the pool stage. Meanwhile, Gilas Pilipinas girls remained 5th in the standings after losing to Japan. The win over Singapore will break before resuming with top 4 on Friday, where Gilas boys will face New Zealand and host Malaysia. Natu's Vincere PH kept its title hopes alive after securing a crucial victory over Falcon Daisies at the Mobile Legends Bang Bang Women's Invitational. Navi PH defeated Falcon Daisies 2-1 in a hard-fought series at the MLBB Women's Invitational in Paris, France. The victory boosted the Filipino squad's campaign as it continues its quest for the championship. With the important win, Navi PH shifts its focus to its upcoming matches as the competition intensifies. Filipino esports fans are now hoping the team can build on its own momentum and deliver another strong performance on the international stage.
The southwest monsoon is affecting extreme northern Luzon. Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Abra, Batanes, and the Babuyan Islands may expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms, while the Metro Manila and the rest of the country areas may experience the same weather condition. Our food for thought tonight comes from Idowu Koyenikan, a Nigerian author and leadership thinker, best known for Wealth for All, living the life of success at the edge of your ability, which encourages personal growth, excellence, and purposeful living. And he says, even though our time in this life is temporary, if we live well enough, our legacy will last forever. I absolutely agree with this because life may be temporary, but a legacy of purpose lasts forever. How about you, Jay?
That's why I say this. Don't just count your days, make your days count.
And before we end our newscast, please take the time to like, subscribe, or share PTV's social media pages flashing on your screen right now. It would go a long way and we would truly appreciate it. And And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Sharm Zespina.
I'm Jay Esteban. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.